Okay, so today we're going to be making a compound out of two elements. The first element is the metal iron, and we are going to be using the powdered form, and we can see that it is flammable. The second one we're going to be using is going to be sulfur, which is a non-metal, and again we're going to use a powdered form, and again it's flammable. Safety precautions for this experiment are that we need to make sure that the iron and sulfur powder have the lids on and are kept away from any open flames that we're using. We also need to make sure that we wear goggles as soon as we are using the Bunsen burners to protect our eyes. We're going to compare the properties of our original elements. So this is a lump of iron this time and a lump of sulfur. We're going to compare those with the properties of the compound that we make. So the first property we're going to observe is the colour, and we can see obviously that sulfur is this very nice yellow colour, and then iron is this kind of silvery grey colour. And we're going to fill those in on the table on our worksheet. So colour here and colour here. The next thing we're going to look at then is the state of matter. So obviously a solid and again a solid. And we can fill those in on the table. The next thing we're going to look at, the next property, is whether it's magnetic or not. We can see if we try either end of the magnet on the sulfur, it's not magnetic. And if we try the iron, we can see that it is magnetic. We're now going to test out whether each of the elements we're dealing with is a conductor of electricity. So I've got a buzzer here and there's a gap in the circuit, and we're going to try putting the sulfur into the gap, and we don't have any noise being created, which suggests this is not a conductor. And then if we put the iron into the gap, we can clearly hear that the buzzer is going off, and therefore our iron is a conductor. And the very last property we're going to test is whether each is brittle or not. So I like to wrap whatever you're testing up first, just in case anything flicks out at you when you hit it. So we're going to hit it with a hammer, and this is our iron element. And as I'm sure you all guessed, it's not broken, and therefore it's not brittle. So let's try the sulfur next. We're just going to wrap it up. And as you can see, it has now become a powder. A few big lumps in there, but most of it's powdered, and therefore we can tell that it is brittle. So you should now have filled out the first two columns of your table. So your sulfur is not magnetic, it's not a conductor, and it is brittle, and your iron is magnetic, is a conductor, and is brittle.